No questions asked. My favorite song on this album is Disposable Heroes. Now, the reason being is because it's somewhat of a biography to Army vets. Not only United States Army vets or Canadian Army vets, but Army vets all over the world. Your body gets beat up in warfare so much. What happens, even those who are not wounded, even those who just return home with just a scratch. What happens next? Do you stay in the Army, or do you continue, or do they discharge you? Lots of times they just discharge you, hence Disposable Heroes. That's pretty much why I like Disposable Heroes. It's a bit of a shout out to soldiers. Well, not only to soldiers, but it could also be to football players, sports icons, and your body can only take so much. What happens? They just throw you away. Disposable. And the lyrics, though, running blind through killing fields, bred to kill them all. It also is a good song for Marvel's iconic villain, Thanos. I played the song for my brother and sister who are huge Marvel fans, and they were like, oh, this is Thanos' song, no questions asked. So every time I hear Disposable Heroes, I also think of Thanos, aside from soldiers. My grandfather and his buddies would tell you, that's just a bunch of loud guitars, loud drumming and screaming. Well, I'd say invite your grandparents over if it's okay, and have them watch the documentary Hypnotizing Power and allow them to learn a little bit about the story of Master of Puppets. It's not just about screaming, playing guitars loud, and, there's a real story to everything. And that's what makes my mom appreciate Metallica, and that's actually what makes my girlfriend's grandparents appreciate some of the stuff that I listen to. This is an album for all heavy metal fans. Heavy metal fans like myself and a couple of classmates that I went to school with. This album is worth playing over and over again. Forget about the Black Album. Actually, don't forget about the Black Album. That one's good too. Well, most of Metallica's releases are timeless and are masterpieces, but this one is considered the greatest one of them all. I will say, once you get your hands on this album, treasure it. I would love future copies to say dedicated to the memory of Cliff Burton. Cliff Burton was just one of those one-of-a-kind people that you meet once in your lifetime, and if you became friends with Cliff Burton, you were lucky to have a friend like him. I've never heard of or seen such an intelligent heavy metal headbanger before, and oh boy, could he play the bass. Like I said, his bass sounded just like an electric guitar, like nothing that you'd ever hear in heavy metal. Most bass players just sound like just dun dun da da do 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 do. They just play one note. Well, Cliff Burton could play high notes, low notes. No one had ever heard a bass player like him before. If I could go back in time with my girlfriend, it would be to 1986 to see Metallica and Ozzy Osbourne on their Damage Incorporated tour and Ultimate Sin tour, and it would be to see Cliff Burton live. If there's a time machine out there, get me there, please.